Hi, my name is Volker Andresen. I'm the author of Speak Well in Public, and I would like to take a closer look at how to use gestures with you today. Isn't it amazing how we're all trained at school to express ourselves through writing rather than verbally? The public speaker, however, communicates 55% of his or her message through the body, 38% by voice, and only 7% with words. Allow me to start this edition of my video blog with 3 examples of bad body language that you have probably seen already as well. First one is the type of presenter who I would call the toughie. Part of making a positive impression is smiling during a public speech. No facial expressions can appear very unfriendly. Second one is the type of presenter who I would call the stop sign. One of the most common mistakes is when presenters cross their arms, especially during question and answer sessions. This will make you look unapproachable. And my third example of how not to use gestures is the type of presenter who I would call the maniac. Beware of unwanted gestures such as clapping your hands, playing around with keys, and also watch out for classic mannerisms like constantly touching your hair or your glasses. Okay? Now, let me show you 3 examples how you can use proactive gestures to your advantage. You ready? First one. Use your fingers to list items. I will talk about 3 points today. 1, 2, and 3. Second one. Use your hands to describe size and shape. The revenue curve is going up. There was a huge difference. And my third positive example, use your hands to emphasize. Now is the time to act. Please use all these gestures wisely. They must be relevant to your phrases. Also, keep in mind that overuse of gestures can distract from their effectiveness.
Hello, my name is Renana Raz, and I would like to present YouMake ReMake, a multidisciplinary project which I've created. YouMake ReMake is a performance consisting of responses to YouTube clips taking place on stage. The idea for this concept was conceived from the notion that YouTube has become the place where everything happens. It is a gateway into an endless, rich, and fascinating reservoir containing almost anything one can imagine. This may sound familiar. In the peak of some social encounter, someone says, "Hey, do you know that clip on YouTube?" Everyone sits around the modern bonfire of the tribe, and a session of intuitive viewing begins. YouMake ReMake finds in YouTube an enormous source of an artistic, fruitful dialogue, creating an interaction between 2 mediums, video and stage. The remake is not a mere replica, but a comment, which sheds a different and new light on the original clip. Both the original clip and the remake receive an added value born out of this new encounter taking place on stage. Today, I am excited to present YouMake ReMake. Questions? Enjoy. A choreographer and a dancer, and you have just watched the opening sequence of the full evening performance, YouMake ReMake. I would like to share with you the concept behind the show and how it was born. I find in the digital culture in general, and YouTube in particular, a thriving engine of inspiration. For me, YouTube is like a huge pool full with ideas and raw materials that stimulate an artistic dialogue. As a choreographer, the medium I create in uses visual images. The fact that by one click, I can reach almost any kind of image, action, or content I can think of, and the fact that these images are accessible to me instantly, literally blew my mind. I'm thinking about Iri Kilian, a famous choreographer, and his piece Stamping Ground, in which he traveled half the world to spend time with the Aborigines, studied their choreography rituals, and then adapted it into a contemporary dance piece. Today, wherever I am in the world, I can sit in front of a computer, and by type in Aborigines dancing, I will get these visuals instantly. This is revolutionary. So I wanted to take part in that new game. I wanted to create content for YouTube. But as a choreographer, I also felt that as opposed to stage, which is a three-dimensional medium, YouTube is a two-dimensional medium, and therefore it is immediate, clippy, and sometimes, as a result, flat. As a choreographer, I tend to pay attention to details, such as nuances, details, the time frame, and then it hit me. I understood that what I really want to do is to bring YouTube to my territory, to bring YouTube to the stage, and to create a performance that based on the dialogue between YouTube and stage, between video and stage. And that's how YouMake ReMake was born. So YouMake ReMake is first and foremost a stage performance. I expect people to switch off their devices, to go outside, to buy a ticket, to enter a venue, to sit on a chair, and to have the experience of a performance. Another aspect which I like to emphasize is the fact that the digital culture brought a lot of isolation to our lives. Each one of us has its own device. We watch the content that we're interested in by ourselves. This performance offers a new kind of experience, a common viewing in YouTube, a common viewing in what is normally being watched alone. And this reminds me of the early days of cinema. In every performance, we have between 10 and 12 clips. Every clip has its stage response. You always get to see the original clip, sometimes before, sometimes after, sometimes during the stage response. The video and the stage response create a new unit that didn't exist before on the web and won't exist on stage alone without, of course, the YouTube clip. Therefore, I can say that this performance is about the dialogue between web and stage, how they merge together and how they continue one another. Because the concept is very simple, every couple of months we can change the clips, we create new responses, and we have a performance that based on the same concept, but in terms of content, it's a completely different performance. Up to now, we have 4 editions, YouMake ReMake number 1, 2, YouMake ReMake Kids, and YouMake ReMake the Feminine Edition, which was especially created for the Women's Day. And this is another way to create a performance by choosing a theme or a subject and to curate a performance around it. I would like to show you a few short examples from the full evening performance so you have an idea how diverse the dialogue can get. This is the opening sequence of YouMake ReMake 1. On stage, there is a dancer, dances a solo piece. Very up-to-date movement material. When he finishes, he turns to the screen. In that point, we understand that everything that we just saw was this red-haired kid dancing in his living room. We learned the movement. Of course, we changed the dynamic and the soundtrack, but just putting it side by side raises questions such as, what is art? What is the difference between high art and low art? And I think the question that YouMake ReMake as a performance also raises is, how does context affect the way we experience art? This is another example, a video of a Finnish guy that teaches how to disco. This is a very funny video.
Täytyy päästä oikeaan diskofiilinkiin, että tämä onnistuu.
A bit surreal. Let's skip to the remake.
כל תנועה שאתה עושה, יש לה משמעות. לכן זה חשוב מאוד שתבין איך הגוף שלך מדבר. מה אתה אומר עם הגוף שלך. שים לב. יש לך רצונות. יש לך צרכים. יש לך תשוקות ויש לך זכויות. יש לך את הזכות לדרוש את מה שאתה רוצה. אתה מתעקש. אתה לא מוותר. ואתה לא תזוז מהמקום שלך. אתה 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 לא תזוז מהמקום שלך.
Finnish, for us, the Israelis, is like a foreign fare. It's like a foreign language, sorry. So Hillel Kogan wrote a completely different text, but we kept the outline of the original video. So instead of a surreal kind of feeling in the original video, suddenly it becomes relevant and even political. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the video Two Girls, One Cup. It's a disturbing and disgusting video. It does not exist on YouTube, but what does exist on YouTube is a reaction film to that video. Now think of it, reaction film is a phenomenon that YouTube brought to our life. Before YouTube, where else could you see people looking of other content? We chose 3 highlights reaction films and we project it in our show. We put on a stage a table with a computer. We have the original Two Girls, One Cup movie, and we invite people from the audience to go up on stage and to watch it. In the first performances, we thought that maybe 4 or 5 brave people will join us. As you see, this is what happened in the show. Basically, half of the audience stood up and joined us on stage. The fact that we did an adaptation to a web phenomenon on stage, I think the audience faced a question. Do I want to watch or do I want to be watched? And I think this is a question that for us, as citizens in the new world, this is a question that we are facing almost every day. One last example, this is a performance of Nina Simone, live performance. We project it, but we project it on mute. On stage, Maya Dunitz and Ram Gabay sitting and they're dubbing Nina Simone live.
Nothing more than feelings. Feelings. Nothing more than feelings. Feelings of love. You know that? Goddamn. I mean, you know what? What a shame to have to write a song like that. Feelings, I don't make myself fall in that. I do not believe the conditions that produced a situation that demanded a song like that. Well, come on, clap, damn it, what's wrong with you?
This moment captures the essence of YouMake ReMake. The original request for clapping was Simone's, and she is already dead for almost 15 years. But because Maya Dunitz doing it live on stage, people in the audience feel obliged to that request and they're clapping. And this is the kind of dialogue that we wanted to create between screen, stage, and audience. A movement that starts from the screen, goes on stage, and continues to the audience, and vice versa. In conclusion, I hope I gave you a taste of YouMake ReMake. And one last final word about what YouMake ReMake taught me. By changing the way you look at things, even the most simple things, and by turning on our creative mode, everything can become inspiring. I believe that one of the purposes of art is to change the way we see things around us and to find in them beauty, humor, and insight. Especially in our era, as we are constantly flooded by visuals, we have the choice to be more than passive viewers, to be creators. So next time you come across a video of a cat playing a piano or a kid dancing in his room, don't just stare. Activate your imagination. Become a maker. Thank you very much.